cartoony, completely cartoony, completely cartoony with Ben
and Leo.
Completely cartoony, completely cartoony, completely cartoony. It's a brand new show. Completely cartoony, completely cartoony, completely cartoony with your favorite host. Completely cartoony, completely cartoony, completely cartoony. It's your favorite show. Completely cartoony, completely cartoony, completely cartoony with Ben
and Leo.
Completely cartoony, completely cartoony, completely cartoony. It's a brand new show. Completely cartoony, completely cartoony, completely cartoony with your favorite host. Completely cartoony, completely cartoony, completely cartoony. It's your favorite show. Completely cartoony, completely cartoony, completely cartoony with Ben
and Leo.
Completely cartoony, completely cartoony, completely cartoony. It's a brand new show. Completely cartoony, completely cartoony, completely cartoony with your favorite host. Completely cartoony, completely cartoony, completely cartoony. It's your favorite show. Completely cartoony, completely cartoony, completely cartoony with Ben
and Leo.
Completely cartoony, completely cartoony, completely cartoony. It's a brand new show. Completely cartoony, completely cartoony, completely cartoony with your favorite host. Completely cartoony, completely cartoony, completely cartoony. It's your favorite show. Completely cartoony, completely cartoony, completely cartoony with Ben
and Leo.
Completely cartoony, completely cartoony, completely cartoony. It's a brand new show. Completely cartoony, completely cartoony, completely cartoony with your favorite host. Completely cartoony, completely cartoony, completely cartoony. It's your favorite show. Completely cartoony, completely cartoony, completely cartoony with Ben
and Leo.
Completely cartoony, completely cartoony, completely cartoony. It's a brand new show. Completely cartoony, completely cartoony.
Right, we're on.
All right, welcome again, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Completely Cartoony. It's a brand new show. It's your favorite show.
Second
having
best.
to deal with
best.
anime, with anything else. It is also your favorite cartoon show, not to be confused with those other less superior cartoon shows
Oh,
that might
The best
be out there.
better cartoon show.
Other cartoon shows is where we'll agree. Unfortunately, tonight I am not joined by my usual co-host, Leandro. Leandro is out and about, living life. However, I do have it. He has sent an email to us at completelycartoony@gmail.com. Also, a much more poppin' inbox. I'm so sorry. Since the last time you guys were on here, I've had the opportunity to listen to your show, and I enjoy it as a little startup. It's been going for a minute. It's been wonderful.
I mean, yeah, you let Liz pick your episode for this week.
100%, 100%.
What, did she win the completely trivial loony?
So what happened there was I knew that the two of you would be back again, and I rigged it with Stevie Lou to have Liz win so that we could get to this point.
It's all rigged.
That's it. It's all a gag.
But,
So we have our like Wednesday night wars, where we're on the same time fighting for viewership.
Yeah, I'm like Raw, and then y'all are like WCW, right?
Oh, I'm Raw. All right, you guys are WCW.
Dude, I'm telling you, I don't know. I think we're raw over here. I don't know what to tell you.
Raw
That's what
is
I
war.
Raw is war. But no, welcome. And we're here hanging out. I've got James and Liz with me. Mr. Leo's unable to be here. James, why don't you start us off this evening? What's popping in your neck of the woods?
Well, I
bud?
mean, so I saw some things this week. Saw some movies, and it's actually because I wanted to ask Liz because I feel like my thing relates to your thing because I saw you post about it on Instagram.
Oh, man.
Because so first I saw the new Ghostbusters, and man, that was rough movie to watch.
Really?
It was really rough. Like surprisingly, like it's not because of like CG. Like it's not like it's a weird movie to look at. It's just like there's like 8-9 characters in this movie that like just don't need to be there. There's like 1,000 stories going on and like barely any kind of ghost busting. It's kind of like it was kind of boring to be completely honest. It was just
I can
boring.
see you just in the theater like, can y'all just bust some ghosts?
Literally,
Just
I
bust
thought
them.
busting makes you feel good. You know what's going on?
You know what?
That
Listen,
sucks.
since I'm like 12 years old, I can tell you, busting does make you feel good.
He was on to something.
Well, they forgot about it in this new movie because, man, yeah, it's rough. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's I don't want to spoil much, but it's just boring. Like, honestly, at the end of the day, it just wasn't funny. Too many characters. The old Ghostbusters have more to do than the last movie, but like Bill Murray shows up for like 3 seconds. I mean, it's just like ridiculous. The only cool thing about this movie is that I watched them behind the scenes, and then because apparently in every other Ghostbusters movie, they never built out a full firehouse. Like it's always the exterior, then everything else is like a different interior. In this movie, somewhere in like Canada, I think they said they built a full firehouse. Like straight up, the whole set is like a full thing, which is like really sick. So when you see it in the movie, that's why it looks so good. It's not really that CG
Cool.
because they fully built out the firehouse, which is also annoying because that's probably why. Because spoilers, the firehouse is a big plot in the movie. So I'm assuming they're like, oh, we built this fucking thing, so now we have to like, use it.
Now we have to use
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah.
Dude, can you imagine like let's throw up a building for a movie?
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. I was talking to a guy down here at one point, and no names, no spoilers, no names, no projects, that sort of thing. However, he did tell me at the end of his movie they're going to blow up a cabin, and I was like, awesome, great. And in my head, I'm like, okay, there are FX packs for that you can get kind of cheap, to
Action
make a thing
VFX,
look
baby.
like it blows up. There's, you can do the old trauma method and do the mat,
Yeah,
like they did in Citizen Toxie.
They put like the little building close to camera.
Yep, and then explode that.
Yeah.
But no, do you know what his
He was gonna blow it up.
dude? He was going to get like foam core, foam core.
Yeah.
Paint the outside of it to match the cabin that existed as his set, and then he was going to erect that structure and, to quote this person, fill it with propane and light a match.
Nice.
And I said to him, great, awesome. I wish you the best of luck in your endeavors.
So like, because I've been trying to blow up a building now for like a little bit, in movie wise, not in real life, but I've done some like some research into how like explosions go, and now I'm kind of going off topic. I do want to talk about the second movie with you, Liz. But with explosions though, doing shit like that, it's just gonna make a big fire. Like what I learned with explosions, that when you see them in movies, when they blow up and they go out, there's actually like other little like gas tanks that are shooting like lighter fluid or propane basically, that's making the fire extend. Like the fire doesn't just shoot out. They have to make something that also continues the fire because it's got to have more things to ignite. If it's just like propane, it's just going to be like boop and then just fire.
Yeah. If you, and that's the other thing too, movie explosions are movie explosions. if you look at any sort of demolition, the other thing that they do with real demolition on things is they implode as opposed
Yes,
to
I learned that too recently. There's like two terms for it. It's like detonation and like deaf or something. I can't remember the second term for it, so I don't want to say it if I butcher it. But yeah, it's like if you see a real explosion, there's a sonic boom to it. You know what I mean? There's like a big, in the movies, it's just big fireballs. And it doesn't go out, it just goes up.
Well, isn't there some kind of legal aspect to that too? Like you have to have somebody who's like trained in like
you should,
the ways of pyro
yeah.
or things of that nature for blowing up a building.
You not only is it that, but you also should be working with your local fire department. You should be working with you
Is
should
it a
have
cabin in the woods?
you should have an ambulance on set that day,
Yeah.
just in case. You should have nobody near it. and yeah, you should hire a demolition crew or people who've done it before. But no, man, we're just gonna fill it with some propane and watch it burn.
Yeah, they'll have a nice bonfire.
And that'll be it. He's not gonna get the effect he wants. Those foam core walls are gonna just fall in.
Won't they
and
melt
they're gonna
too if
melt.
it's foam? Just melt instead of explode?
No, it melts is all it does.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's not going to go out. It's just going to crumble and just burn.
So I told him I thought that was a bad idea. and then kindly removed myself from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sometimes you got to do that, you know?
Dude, I've done that with so many things. so many things.
Is that why you weren't on Portrait of Payback?
Yeah, I knew it. I knew what was going to happen. No. Well, Portrait came at a less than fortuitous time for me, but I was too busy doing Completely Cartoony and could not break away for a moment.
Now, the second movie I watched is a new Roadhouse remake. And I sort of like, Liz, you were posting about it. I want to know your opinion because, honestly, I've watched it 3 times.
Oh, fuck.
I have a blast watching this movie. There's things I don't like, but yeah, I want to know what you think about it.
It's not Roadhouse. So that's number one. It's not Roadhouse. There's no, besides a name and besides the name Roadhouse. Like, I wondered if it was like a Family Guy play because they actually say the term Roadhouse like 12
well, it's like
to
the name of the actual
times in
bar.
this film.
They're like, the name of the bar is Roadhouse.
Yeah, but they keep saying it, and it's like, is this a throwback to Family Guy? But they, I feel like Jake Gyllenhaal, for what it is, was fantastic.
Oh yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal is my favorite.
And I appreciate how seriously he took this.
I mean, look how good he looked,
like
man.
how seriously he took it to look good and to act that over the top. You know, that.
I mean, exactly. Until
to
like,
be that
getting
person.
Patrick Swayze's shoes, I mean, you got to look that good, you know.
But that said, it's not Roadhouse, and it wasn't the tone that I needed for, like, this shouldn't have even been called Roadhouse, and they should have taken that term out of it and called it something else, and I might have liked it. Like, there was just too much. It's different to be silly and have a soul. To just be silly for silly's sake.
Yeah, it was definitely
I could
pretty
not
silly.
stand Conor McGregor. The dudes in Double Toasted equated him to Chicken Hawk in the way that he
he was
walked around
walking
and stuff.
Yeah,
and
it was funny
acted.
is that Chili Beans was like, I think Conor McGregor just did a bunch of lines and then showed up on set. And then that
Basically.
night we go out to the bar and we're talking to the bartender. We're talking about Roadhouse, and the bartender comes up and he was like, literally comes up to us and says, I think Conor McGregor did a bunch of coke and hopped on camera. And we were like, that's exactly what we were saying.
I think maybe if that was if he was taken out of this and it was some other big bad, because the big bad wasn't even really big and bad.
Yeah, I know. He's
You
just
know?
annoying.
So it was just not on it for me. But
But you know what? I said I saw it after Ghostbusters, and I think I was just so bored that like just watching
you're like,
Jake
this is
Gyllenhaal.
fantastic.
Yeah, just watching Jake Gyllenhaal just slap motherfuckers around was beautiful.
The fight choreography and the camera work was wild. Like, I'll give
Yeah.
it that.
See, like I had a problem with some of the fight choreography towards the
Really?
end. The fight with McGregor, like some of it's really good, but then they do these things, and this I guess is really being nitpicky about it, but like the cuts are like pretty bad sometimes. So like they do this thing that a lot of Hollywood movies do, or a lot of like action movies try to do, where they try to make it kind of like one take, and they try to like mesh frames together, and then it starts to like look weird. And at the end of the day, you could just cut around it. I know it's so like it's like little things, but like for me, so I do love the original Roadhouse. I thought like this movie is paced faster. Like I think the original Roadhouse actually is like a slower movie. Though I do like the fights better in the original Roadhouse because it's more, it just feels grimier. Like it's really just dudes just beating the shit out of each other in a bar. This is so stylized. Like they do like, they literally, I mean, one part in the remake, like one dude does like a back body trap to a guy and like throws him at like the edge of the bar, and it's like the camera swoops. It's like so stylized. When I watched the original one, it's just like this big wide shot of dudes smashing each other around through tables.
Oh my god!
And you have Terry Funk in the original, you know.
For me, I wish I could be getting out and seeing stuff.
Well,
Unfortunately,
Roadhouse is on Amazon.
It's on Amazon.
Is it?
Yeah, Amazon exclusive.
Yeah.
But I would strongly suggest not purchasing that at this time and waiting for it to be like not a rental, because I honestly
But you rented
don't...
it? I was streaming it. It was streaming on
Yeah.
Amazon. I had watched it
Oh.
on my Prime.
Okay, well, it wasn't for my... I have Prime.
Oh, weird.
So that maybe that's another notch in the why I
Yeah,
don't
why-
like it book. That, but it's a watch for if you have absolutely nothing else to do. But it's not a you must watch this film to me.
Yeah. To me, it was a good pickup movie. Like I said, we were just all in a bad mood. And, you know, stuff going on with this, you know, this current Lloyd movie going on, you know, the morale was a little low. And then, you know, we watched Roadhouse and like, I don't know, just we were just hyped. We're like, we want to go to a bar now and just start some bar fights.
Oh my god!
You show up, start swinging,
Yeah.
bringing a golf club like Conor McGregor. Also,
Oh, wait a minute. The last time I truly recall like a very good golf club in anything was what, some Ninja Turtles, right? Like Casey Jones.
Yeah. It's not
I
as
don't
cool
need
as Casey
Conor
Jones.
McGregor with a golf club or any other villain with a golf club, but the use of it is so ridiculous. And when the dude starts swinging in the Roadhouse, nobody does. Like, it's like everybody just sits there.
Yeah, let's
Everybody's
keep
like,
drinking.
real, like, I'd be getting the fuck up and running away. And like fights are happening in original Roadhouse. People are scurrying.
Yeah.
Like, bye. You know, this is just, it's just
Yeah, the
weird.
the spoilers too. The point in the movie where like the alligator eats the guy. That's when I'm like, all right, now I know this movie. Like, now I know where we're going in this movie. Like, it's no longer really that realistic. But yeah, but Jake Gyllenhaal, I mean, he gets stabbed in the beginning, and he was like, I bet you didn't think this through, and the guy just like runs away. He's got like this knife sticking out of him.
So we have in the
Theo.
chat, real quick. I don't mean to interrupt, Liz, but we do have our dear sweet friend, completely Cartoony's #1 fan, Mr. Rivers Smelly Shit is in the
River smelly
in
shit. I love that guy.
He's amazing. No. He corrected me one time. I was having too much fun. And our dear friend Reeves Elliott said, "No, you misspelled my last name," and then I had to put it. I had to correct it. So anyway, he's
Hi,
in the
Reeves.
chat.
Hi, Reeves.
Technically, he's making sure I'm working tonight. That's all that is.
You're working while
But
you're
Liz,
answering emails.
continue. Okay, so you guys are both suggesting that Roadhouse is.
I think it's a good time. If you just want to sit down and just watch dudes just punch each other in the face for like 2 hours, totally worth it.
That's all I ever want to see dudes do. I'm just saying. You know what I mean?
Roadhouse is kind of a religion in my house. And
Yeah, so you're a big fan of the original.
yeah, and Brandon especially. Like, that's probably close to his favorite film.
Wow. I mean, I guess I
was-
don't want to sound like sacrilegious, but I mean, I like Roadhouse. I guess I don't have this also crazy emotional attachment to it.
Yeah.
But no,
And-
I think some of the stunts are better. There's that one shot in the original Roadhouse where I'm pretty sure it's Patrick Swayze who does it, where he's literally running, jumps, grabs the dude while he's on the motorcycle, and tackles him down to the ground. You don't
Yes.
see that kind of shit in this movie.
No, there's no throat ripping.
No
There's
throat
no
ripping.
polar bear. And all of this stuff gets replaced with this ridiculous caricature of Conor McGregor as whatever his name was. What was his name? His name was on his
Oh,
necklace.
it was like Knox, I think.
Knox. Dumb.
Yeah.
Like dumb. So I can't. I wasn't here for that, but I was here for Jake Gyllenhaal. I'll give him that.
And no Sam Elliott either.
Did
you
he
know?
give him a? Did he give him a? What do you call that? Like, was there a weird sort of awkward kind of homoerotic moment where Conor McGregor goes up to Jake Gyllenhaal, makes him feel very comfortable and insecure, and says, "You're about to go to the school of hard knocks."
Oh,
It
they
doesn't.
missed
It
that.
gets
See,
close
this is
to
why
that.
you're a writer, and like you can write, and these people can't. Like that's a missed opportunity.
But I mean, the movie's
did he
pretty
get in
close to that
ear?
line.
Because
but-
that's what I would have had in a heartbeat. I would have had him reach in, lean over into his ear, and whisper,
He
like,
should have ripped out his throat.
yeah.
Nobody got a throat rip. Like
Nobody.
this
And
is not Roadhouse.
have you seen the post credit? Conor McGregor didn't even die. So.
No thanks.
But
No, I didn't hang around for the post credits. With the transition at the end of the credits made me literally want to vomit. So I was just like
Yeah.
done.
So, and again, like I've been watching absolutely nothing, but I'll start with this on my end.
You've done a lot.
Ghostbusters being, huh?
Said you've done a lot this week.
Well, fuck this week. So Ghostbusters is a bust, and we have two differing opinions on Roadhouse. I already love the way this is starting. Everybody's at a different place. Fun little points of contention makes me very happy.
Hey, films are subjective, man. I know some people have seen the news Ghostbusters already 3 times. You know?
Right.
It's just, I always say, film is subjective, man. There's no, I don't know, like whatever you like. That's why I can't stand film awards. It doesn't make sense to me.
There should be no awards or there should be all awards. Everybody should get one.
Well, it's ultimately somebody else's art.
Yeah.
And that's why I got out of the business of writing reviews. I used to write reviews professionally and get paid for them. I can't do that. And also, a lot of the time, it was coerced reviews too. Like, if you say this, you need to say this. And no, like, if it's not how I feel, I'm not going to say it. Most of that stuff is just bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
And the big thing there is it's like as far as film reviews go, it's either you trust the person's opinion or you don't. You look at guys like what is it? Like Siskel and Ebert, right? Like back in the day or whatever. 9 times out of 10, the stuff that they said sucked and was horrible was the stuff that I enjoyed more than anything.
Same.
It
Yeah.
ended up being like lowbrow or graphic or whatever, and that's the stuff I enjoy.
Yeah, I remember when we were talking Ninja Turtles, we looked up the RT score online, and it's in like the 30s. And it's just like, How do you give that movie like that? That movie's near perfect.
Agreed.
Exactly. That's a thing. That's the thing. You can't trust it. And the other thing that you can't trust with a thing like a Rotten Tomatoes or something like that, anything that allows a fan to score as well as a critic. Like it can
Yeah,
either...
don't get me started on fan scores because those are complete nonsense. Because for one person can vote like 100 times, and two, then there's nothing stopping also these companies from just also having just their own shields boost up their scores or you know what I mean? Like it can go any way. There's no like real way to project what that means. It's all nonsense.
Rotten Tomatoes is a joke.
Yeah.
Things like that where they're like, Rotten Tomatoes, 99%. Really? Like some of the worst films of all time. That I like some of the worst things I've seen in the past 10 years, especially go up in that like 90% and above, and I'm like, how?
When
It's
The Rock
people
was
going on there and
when The Rock was
repeating.
putting out Black Adam, like he was posting, oh, we have this like 90% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. I was like, that doesn't, fuck you, like that doesn't mean anything. I don't know anyone who's talking about how much they like that movie. That's all fake.
Yeah, it's none of it is real. It's online campaigns. It's people that are doing things for like a little bit of whatever for club. Maybe I loved it so much I've gone in there 100 times, more than whatever. It's all subjective, as has been said here 1,000 times. But you know, you make your own opinion, make your own assertion. If you want to see the thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
Don't let other people influence you. You might miss out on your good time because you listen to some idiot online, and that's stupid.
Leandro in the chat says completely cartoony is 100% on Rotten Tomatoes on both critics and audience.
Ah, yes. While Leandro is out, he is in our chat doing quality check on this particular episode. And again, like I said, we have a little note for later on, which we will hit from our dear friend.
And I think Josh said he sent us an email too. I don't.
Oh,
if you got that.
beautiful. I will double check. If he sent it to the correct email, if he sent it to your email, I don't have access. I don't know what that show is.
I guess we'll find out later. But Ben, I mean, you had a fucking busy weekend, man. You and Big Dan went on a little adventure.
So,
Dan.
Big Dan, the one true sponsor here.
True sponsor, the Big Dan. Remember, you can comment here on the Big Dan Deal live chat.
It's a Big Dan Deal live chat. So yeah, and to go back a little bit, he brought up Totally Tunular. He brought up the 3-year anniversary. He brought up a bunch of stuff with me, and all he could say is, we're maybe about halfway through the drive. I don't know. We're up in Kentucky somewhere, and it had gotten quiet in the truck, and he turns around and he looks at me and he goes, I don't know who that damn Big Stan is, but you know what? Let me tell you, he ain't got nothing on barbecue. And I had to tell him. I was like, you know what? Big Stan has sent nothing in. I think you sent him running scared.
He did.
And
He scared Big Stan away.
Until we receive a bottle of Big Stan's barbecue sauce to compare the two, it's you know what? I'm sticking with our Coke over Pepsi.
Well,
you know what I mean?
guys can have Big Stan. We'll take Big Dan. Completely cartoony can have Big Stan.
There we go.
I pinned a deal with him while we were in that truck. In that moment, I said,
Some sneaky
Wow.
deals going on. This is capitalism happening
So
right
you
now.
took the Tunular sponsor?
nobody says, listen, how many podcasts do you guys listen
You're
to?
poaching our sponsors.
No, how many podcasts do you guys listen to that are sponsored by, BetterHelp, right?
True.
Every
Carfax is
podcast.
everywhere.
Yeah. How many podcasts do you listen to that are sponsored by Squarespace? What I'm saying is this. Big Dan is the next Squarespace.
I
Big
can go with
Dan
that. I can deal with that. I'm down for that.
is the next BetterHelp. Big Dan will be on all of your big podcasts pretty soon. So just to let you know. But yeah. So me and Dan, and he'd brought it up a couple of weeks ago, and I couldn't. I really couldn't go. Like, that was the thing. I was unsure if I was, working with my dad that weekend. I was unsure if me and Jen would be traveling that weekend, whatever. I just can't get my life in order. Then I got a note from a friend who suggested that I do a thing. I had been sort of fingered for a.
You've been fingered?
It's already starting to feel that way, yeah.
Where did the old man touch you, Ben?
Show us on the doll.
It would only be in my heart. All right. So long story short, I got a note. Got a note from a friend, and they suggested that I might want to talk to someone about a thing coming up. And I said, oh, well, that person is going to be at Horror Hound. And I says to Dan, I says, he's still going. I think I'm going to roll with you. And lo and behold, that was Lloyd Kaufman, president of Trauma Entertainment and the creator of the Toxic Avenger. And Saturday morning after the Eating Miss Campbell Ohio premiere, which, by the way, our good friend Liam,
lovely,
hell of a movie he made. Too,
yeah.
By the way, I mean,
have you seen it before the screening?
Had I seen it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Liam had sent me what is it, like a rough cut / work print once he had the whole thing sort of assembled. So it had changed since the last version I saw.
Nice.
But it was basically intact when I'd seen it. And then watching this with a room full of people, another Trauma director out there, Ricky Glore, who's working on Trauma's Sweetmeats right now.
Right.
Super famous Trauma actor people. Jessa Flux was there, another one of our dear friends.
Whole crew. I
mean, dude, it was like it was like a meeting of the mindless. You know what I mean? what it really was. But then, yeah, that was Friday night, and then Saturday morning, I got up, met with Lloyd, had some coffee. And right now, we are actively helping to co-produce the movie that Lloyd's getting ready to do.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this on Saturday morning and you're a Trauma fan, and you want to potentially participate in Lloyd Kaufman's next film shooting later this year, I have a story I have to tell you guys
Big
after
Dan
I
says
do
he
this.
saved your life.
It's a long story. I'll tell you in just a second. Here's what ends up happening, though. So if you do want to participate in Lloyd Kaufman's next movie, The Power of Positive Murder, which is a very accurate retelling of Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment, one of the world's most famous novels, you can email traumaspunishment@gmail.com.
What an accurate email to join a Trauma movie. You're literally signing up for punishment.
When I saw it, I was pretty much in tears. And look, it looks like we have our next big Trauma star already in the chat.
Yeah.
Dwayne Steeler says he's already emailed. But you're going to want to send in your headshot, a resume, and then a 2 to 3 minute video showcasing yourself, what makes you unique, and your talents. To put it in the words of Lloyd Kaufman, we are specifically looking for big, large people. We're looking for those folks. We're looking for little, tiny people that look interesting, right? If you've got something that you might think is a flaw, well, we see that as your beauty in Traumaville.
Nice.
That's the beauty of Trauma. The most magical thing of Trauma. Everyone is welcome.
We had one lady show up in Shitstorm in the auditions with the fucking peacock.
I don't want to talk about that peacock because she never came back. because she never. And I remember that became a challenge.
Yeah.
That she never came back. So anyway, well, we were supposed to have the peacock. Where's the peacock? There ain't no peacock no more. But anyway, yeah. So long story short, we'll put it this way: me and Big Dan, we go out, we watch the movie, we have a good time. We go out with Ricky from Sweetmeats, and he goes, because we'd had a couple of beers while we're watching the movie.
Yeah.
Everybody stayed good. We're all great. Me and Dan Ubered to where we were going, like classy
Nice.
grown men.
No
who don't
driving.
need to drive it.
Responsible men.
Responsible.
Very responsible. You don't even know how responsible. So we have a couple of beers, and then Ricky drives us to a second location. And if you know anything about murder or anything like that, you never go to a second location. So we went to the second location with him. Wonderful little bar. We crossed the river, went into Kentucky, and ended up at a gay bar in Kentucky. I kid you not.
Was it like a Blue Oyster type thing? Like, did you walk in and everybody's in like BDSM gear and stuff?
Oh, do you know how much I wish that really was the case? I would have been.
I would
was-
drive up there like this weekend if that's something that exists in
That
Kentucky.
was like no, that was like when me and Derek went to a gay bar in New Orleans.
That makes a lot of sense in New Orleans. But no. So we end up at this spot, and I laughed. I thought it was wonderful. I'm like, this is the dive bar we're going to, and we're crossing state lines to go to it. Perfect. Love it. Had a wonderful conversation. Had a few more drinks. Ricky then in turn drove us back to our hotel, where Big Dan and I hung out beside a dumpster for a while. I won't tell you what we were doing, but we were imbibing and we were hanging out by a dumpster. Then we go upstairs. And at that
that's when
point,
you
when I
fucked?
laid down, my head got a little discombobulated, right? You know that thing where you can't lay down. You got to get up, and you're like, oh, I need to go somewhere
Get
nice
that
and cool.
spins.
Yeah. It was one of those. So I went and got up, sat on the toilet for a while, head between my hands, just like, oh, what am I doing? I've got a meeting. Oh, and then I decided I was gonna take myself like a little shower bath, right? Because that's the thing I do. I like to turn on the shower, sit in the tub, fill the tub up, and let it do that, right? So I did that. Got very nice and warm. Stripped down, jumped in the tub, got nice and warm. Immediately fell asleep. 2 hours later.
Oh my god. The water's
2
still
hours
running?
Yeah. The
wow.
the fire alarm goes off. The water is still running, and Big Dan's like, "Where is Ben?" And then he hears the tub water going,
Oh my god.
and he comes into the bathroom. And luckily, the way the hotels are done, they have that overflow in the shower, because this has happened a lot of times, and people have ruined floors. So the overflow comes in, and all the water's been going down those drains for 2 hours. I had the curtain pulled because I'm a gentleman, but Big Dan comes in. Ben, get up, Ben, and then apparently cracks it just enough so he doesn't need to see my shame, but then sees me and sees that I'm just starting to fall asleep a little bit. So he bops me on the nugget, wakes me up. I drain the tub, get dry, go and lay down. And I'm like, I'm ready to take a nap. I'm ready to go to bed. Fire alarm is still going off. It
So
was
it has
going off
nothing to do
for
with you.
40 minutes, give or take. Eventually, I think Dan killed it. I think he murdered that alarm.
So
yeah,
nobody
smash.
showed up?
Huh?
No, did nobody show up for the fire alarm?
No, he went downstairs, and they're like, our maintenance guy is gone right now. He won't be here for 2 hours.
Wow.
And Dan was like, well, fuck it. I'm taking the batteries out. And so either that or again, he shot it.
Well, what
I
set
don't
it
know
off?
what he
Just
did.
the hot water? The steam?
The steam is what set it off.
Big Dan's in the chat, and he says you were boiling for 3
Oh.
hours, and you were the color of a stop sign.
I was bright red, and my body did feel a little weird the next day. But that all balanced out, and luckily I still have enough of a layer of fat on me that like it didn't get to any organs or nothing.
You
But yeah,
boiled yourself alive like a lobster.
man, if only that had happened before that meeting. If only that had happened, because now I'm getting boiled alive. But it's like when you throw a frog into a frying pan and you slowly turn the heat up.
Ugh.
It's more like that.
Yeah, I believe it.
You get comfortable enough. You get comfortable enough, and then slowly but surely you're like, "Oh, my insides are cooked. My bad."
That's crazy. Oh my god. Well, thank God Big Dan's around.
Yeah. To what is it? Hashtag precious cargo, right? But anyway, the next morning I met up with Lloyd and have signed on to help out with the power of positive murder. Again, a very accurate retelling of Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment. So be on the lookout for it. Hit up every Trauma social you can if you want to participate in cast and crew. We need all of those wonderful people. And we're shooting in Jersey later this summer. Joyzy. But, it is one of those things where it's like sometimes in your life you do end up working for a Devilman.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a transition.
So tonight, and I do pick, but I mean, it's one of those things where you know what you're getting into. You know,
Yeah.
If you've watched any of the documentaries that Troma's made since Terra Firma, often conditions are less than ideal. Tempers can flare, attitudes run high, ego is deep.
Yeah.
And that's literally just the main actor or the PA. not to mention everybody else.
Yeah,
on
I
set.
mean, I remember on Shitstorm, just in general, just like people complaining about something or like being upset about something. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm also upset and tired and angry, but I mean, did you guys not expect any of this? I knew exactly what I was getting into. I knew how shitty it was going to be.
And the thing is, though, and this is what I keep kind of reminding myself and I keep explaining to other people, and it's a conversation that we've had repeatedly with a lot of people,
Yeah.
and I need to continue to have it with myself as this goes on. But it's the thing where we talk about artists, we talk about all of that. I have an immense amount of respect for Troma, and while my parents put the things inside of me that give me work ethic, give me all of these things, and it shaped the way I kind of grew. Trauma then shaped how I largely see the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So it's sort of those two things combined. And when I look at the artist, again, it's one of those deals where if you told me at 13 or 14 that this would even potentially be an opportunity, I would have slapped you for getting my hopes up just to dash them.
Aw.
I would have. So all the good, bad, the indifferent, like there's an immense amount of respect for what's come before. There's an immense amount of respect for the project at hand, and whatever we do.
Yeah. And plus, you know, we've worked on enough shit. I feel like we've earned a little right to talk some shit, you know?
Dude, there are people that are there for 5 minutes
Yeah.
that talk shit for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
They quit and they talk
Yeah.
shit the rest of their lives.
We keep coming
They-
back.
They have no leg to stand on.
Yeah.
But anyway, we are in turn talking about a Devilman, and as completely cartoony continues throughout, and I'm sure I'll pop up on your show occasionally. We'll talk more and more about this as it comes to light until they make me sign an NDA. So, but yeah, 1972 Devilman.
Yeah.
All right. I literally, okay, this will tell you how little I know about anime. I thought this was a movie I watched.
Well, there is a move. There's a lot of components to Devilman media post manga.
And that's the thing that, again, I'm very unaware to host an anime show. I'm very unaware.
I never heard of. I mean, I've heard of Devilman, but never like watched this exact anime before. And honestly, maybe it's like my own dumb ignorance, but like I really didn't think there was anime before 1980, or like the anime that I think what anime is. Like when I think of anime, I think of stuff that's in the 80s and 90s, but I don't know, maybe it's because that's the time that kind of shit came over to Western, America was in the 80s and 90s. But yeah, when he said 1972, I was like, this show, they make animation like this in the 70s?
Well, think about like Astro Boy and
yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Speed Racer, things of that nature. Like and like this is going back to the 60s, but it's just like this was Toei's attempt at putting this into animation form, or putting this manga, changing it up a little bit, making it a little bit safer. And this version, this first run of Devilman, and making it more of like a superhero. Like Devilman's, it's not as an occult symbol as much
feels
as
like
an occult
a
symbol
Saturday
or
morning
anything.
cartoon,
right? Like a Monster of the Week.
Yeah.
Like Ultraman, that type of thing, where there's going to be a big fight at the end.
So as I kind of watched through it, right? Like this is the other crazy thing for me in the bits that I watched. I watched the first 3 and the last 4, and because that's how I do when I realize the breadth of it. Great, we'll see how it begins, where the series ends. We'll go from there. 38. 39 episodes, something like that.
Yeah, 39.
Right? Yeah. Honest to goodness, this show is it's hysterical. I think there's a lot of comedy in here, like a lot of good, funny bits. I love the notion in the very first episode of like, what is it, 3 or 4 demons have to figure out who's going to go up to Earth and who gets to take over that boy's body, that boy's soul. And then it's like, sure as all get out, it ends up being Devilman whooping the rest of them, or the devil whooping the rest of them.
Yeah, they do like,
anyway.
like the Dark Knight, like Joker, like tryouts.
Right. right. It was wild to me. It was just wild. And what a setup for a kid's show in the 70s.
Now, here's my question about it. Is the kid dead when Devilman?
Yes.
So he is dead the whole time?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because
he has to inhabit a dead human, and this all just happens at the right time. He falls on his trip to the mountains and dies. And I mean, it's just immediate. Here comes Devilman to inhabit his body.
So then what makes him do the face turn? I guess I feel like I missed that too. Like, just because he had the kid's memories or whatever?
Because he has a little bit of Akira's memories and, I guess, soul in him still. So, and he finds that through Akira's love for Minky, who, okay, so people that are listening that have never watched or read Devilman,
Right.
Minky, so dude dies, his dad dies, they think he's still alive, and he goes to live with his best friend and her family, and he's in love with her, and her name is Minky, and she's kind of like his humanity. At that point, when Devilman has entered Akira, he feels how that love, that sounds gross.
When this demon
He
entered
feels
this little
that
child.
love.
That's the greatest thing you've ever said again.
Devilman enters Akira.
Yeah, just one time, real slow, real soft into the microphone.
Devilman enters Akira.
Done. Beautiful.
Got some extra views on that.
So, James, you're not as old as we are, so you would not have experienced this as it was published. But now, like, have you ever read the mid 90s Verotic, like the Glenn Danzig brand comics of Devilman. He
No,
was
I
the
didn't
one
know-
that brought them into my attention when I was a
Yeah, I
kid.
didn't know Glenn Danzig wrote Devilman comics. I thought he just made weird vampire movies.
So I was a weird little kid, and I was all like, that was one of my first big waves of obsessions was Misfits, and Glenn Danzig in particular. And he had this Devilman tramp stamp
Oh
on him.
shit!
No
Nice.
joke.
Hell yeah.
It's pretty bad. Google that, listeners, and you'll have a good laugh.
I'll Google it. I'll put
But-
it up on screen too.
It's wonderful. So he had started this comic book company, publishing company, Verotic, and he brought in English versions of those original Devilman comics, and I found those at Great Escape under the Glenn Danzig moniker, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, what is this? So thank God for Jimmy Williams, who I know listens to this, who's still a friend of mine.
Yeah.
Jimmy Williams at the Great Escape, or used to be at the Great Escape in Madison, would tell me all about this stuff. So he's like, oh yeah, you didn't know that Glenn Danzig loved manga, and you didn't know that Glenn Danzig was, a Japanese collector and all this stuff. Well, I saw some photos of him. Like, he would have
I got
photos
the-
in metal magazines with his collection behind him, or wear shirts.
Yeah, I
Like,
have
he
the
had a
image
Ghost
up here
Rider
on
shirt.
YouTube of the tattoo. Oh,
Did
I
you-
can't
did you
even see
find
what
it?
it is. Yeah.
It's bad, isn't it?
I can't even see what it is. It's just like this weird.
It's just Devilman in Japanese.
Yeah, I sent it
But
here in the chat too. If y'all enjoy.
It looks almost tribal. There it is.
Yeah.
Devilman. That's wild.
So that's how I found Devilman, and that's how I was able to, like, really track down later like a bootleg VHS version of Devilman.
Yeah, because I
I-
read
And,
online.
and with
he-
no English, so I had no idea what they were saying.
I was literally just reading online, so let's see if I don't have it up. But it said that literally Devilman, this specific iteration, hasn't been released in the U.S. until like 2013 as like a DVD copy or like home media. And even then, it
That
says
is-
it was released as like a Region 1, which I don't even understand what that means. But so yeah,
That depends on like your players, your things like that. I don't know how you set a DVD's region or whatever, but it has something to do with the players and the things that it can actually like fit on or whatever. So beats the balls off me. But more importantly, friends, can we just talk about like the tramp stamp in general?
we're still on the tramp stamp.
And I just mean, look, it made a lot of sense in like the mid to late 90s into the 2000s when all the pants were like low risers. You know what I mean?
I have one. Unfortunately, it's really bad. It's actually bordering on, like, not PC. Like, I got to get it covered up. I
Oh.
was a big Apocalypse Now
Okay.
Coppola fan, so it doesn't work real well. Also, considering that I'm part Asian too, it doesn't work real well.
We'll get a
Oh
big
my
giant
god!
back
All right,
piece,
whatever.
You know?
Maybe that's a conversation for offline. But now,
That
like,
is.
I
It's
thought
bad.
for 2
Our
seconds
premium,
it was going to be like,
our Patreon subscribers can pay to see that tattoo.
Yes.
or even to hear what it might be. Because when you started that off and you were like, it's borderline, inappropriate today, I was like, for 2 seconds, I'm like, Tennessee girl, tell me, Liz, do you have a rebel flag tamp stamp?
God, no.
Okay. Because there's a part of it is like, what? That's hysterical.
No.
But
I
yeah.
will disclose that on the Patreon for
Yeah.
anybody listening. Give us some money and I'll
Yeah.
disclose it.
Yeah, you should see what I'll do for money.
You should see this tramp stamp.
Then we'll get a tramp stamp.
It's that was the other thing that happened this weekend. I didn't want to tell anybody. Is Big Dan brought out a branding iron and never go anywhere with him. Just gonna say that.
Like
Never.
a real branding iron?
The pig. You should see
No,
my.
he didn't.
Get a pig
You
brand.
should see my tramp stamp area right now. Is what I'm saying.
I'm
Son of a
imagining
bitch
it
branded
looks
me.
like, you know, when like Bam Margera tried to get like a branded like dick on his butt and they missed it like 3 times. That's what I imagine it looks like.
in layers.
Yeah, that's what I imagine with the Big Dan. The pig is just like 3 layers because
Just it's like 3 pigs like rotated. That'd be perfect.
But your skin is probably so boiled from the hot water, you can just touch it, you know, with the prod, and it would have stayed.
And it
And it would have
all
stayed.
fell off.
Yeah.
It all
Oh.
fell off.
Did you
bro.
were you burned? Like burned to the point of needing medical assistance or
No.
Okay.
So it was like again, it's one of those things where it was the hotel hot water, so it stays hot because they have huge hot water heaters, right? Like they
Right.
have to. I'm probably the only guy in the bathtub at like 3:30 in the morning that's going to be in there for a couple of hours. So it just stayed hot. It just stayed hot. Again, like I said, the next day I was a little like maybe not the greatest idea, but that's why you travel with friends.
Yeah.
That's why you travel with friends. But anyway, no, it just the notion of the tramp stamp in general. I get it. It can be like a foxy spot to get a thing if you're
Not
wearing
really.
low riser jeans.
it's not. Like
is
in
like-
any way, shape, like the sexiest person looks ridiculous with a tramp stamp. Like I regret mine
I
so
had,
much. Not only for what it is, but just because of the placement.
I had a biology teacher in high school who had a tramp stamp, and it was like, I remember seeing it for the first time and being like, "Whoa, teachers can do that."
Well, wait. Now we have a whole other conversation. What is your teacher doing showing you her tramp stamp?
Is she wearing the low-rise jeans?
I don't remember. I just remember that she like bent over to get something, and then like her shirt went up a bit, and I was like, "Oh, there's a tramp stamp."
James got it bad.
I mean, she was a
Like,
hot
I-
teacher. I won't say that she wasn't.
I could have been like really generic and got a butterfly or something. So
Yeah.
at least it's not that.
Yeah, it's not a
I've got
butterfly
that
or
going
like
for me.
or one of those tribal, you know, or barbed wire.
Yeah.
But again though, Liz, you're 100% right. There are very few times where that particular placement, at least in my personal opinion, can be like a necessarily like a really kind of hot or like super hot thing. And not to be sexist, because I don't ever want to do that. If you're a dude and you want to put like something just above where the crack of your ass starts, do not let me be the one to stop you. Don't let anybody stop you. Do what you want to do. Looks a little silly. Looks a little silly. I'm sorry. You got no shape. You've got a weird dude butt, and then you've got this a horrible like dolphin jumping over a wave
With a rainbow
on
and
your
a
butt.
cloud. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a bunch of wrestlers with like shitty tramp stamp tattoos, like male wrestlers.
Yes. And don't you always like question that? Like
Yeah.
a little bit. Like and nothing more than common sense. I question nothing else about you, your lifestyle, how you living, but your common sense. If you're running around in your underwear for your whole job, the whole time,
Yeah, maybe not a tramp stamp.
maybe not. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
But actually, you know what? That's the thing you can do. If next week for when Liz and James get back together on their show, if you want to send an email to them, I believe it's totally.tunular@gmail.com. Send us your opinions on tramp stamps.
Or send us your tramp stamps.
Or send us your tramp stamps. Exactly.
We should just have a tramp stamp episode.
Just on
Viewer submissions.
You know, wait.
We
let's-
rate your tramp stamp.
animate someone's tramp stamps.
Could you imagine?
Animate
though?
the dolphin that's flying, you know.
Okay. Soft pitch. There's a better one out there. All right. There's a better one out there. I know. But what if we developed our own cartoon called Tramp Stamps? And it's like the HBO show Animals. But, you know, when the people talk, they
Yeah.
can't, they don't really talk, you know? It's like, "Brr, brr, 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 brr."
Yeah.
So it's like that, but the tramp stamps talk to each other, and the actual show happens between people's backs as
I just imagined elephants when you said tramp stamps, like an animated show, like Stampy. Like I just imagine elephants with tramp stamps, and they're talking.
Elephants or tramp stamps. I'm down.
I'm so here for it.
Take that, father of the pride.
But to bring it back sort of to Devilman, the thing that we're talking about here, I like the general conceit that, you know, a demon with a little bit of good based on whatever in turn has to fight bigger and badder evils, right? Are not even bigger or badder. Some of them are
ridiculous.
So silly.
Yeah, some of them are intimidating, and other ones are just like weird.
Just weird. So is it Mickey or Minky?
Mickey.
With an
It's Mickey. Yeah, I think it's Miki. I think.
Yeah, Mickey. Okay. It looks like, for all intents and purposes, she also dies in episode 1. Like it looks like, anyway, when that big monster's got her and then like throws her up and then rips her down the tooth, you
like
know?
when that happens, it like her dress like perfectly like gets caught on the like the dude's horns or whatever and just like rips in half.
Mm-hmm. So there are a couple of points where I thought like she's like dead, right? And maybe it was because of the way my day went, but does she also not get possessed at a certain point?
She does. There's another school kid that gets possessed in one of the episodes. That's where it starts, like the blasphemy of the manga starts seeping into the show, but they can't let it seep in too much because this is also a show. You know?
What is the difference between the manga and this show? I'm assuming the manga is just darker and more serious.
Much more so.
Yeah.
And it's more like demonology. Like
okay.
The guy really pulls out like the demonology and occult aspects in the manga. And this
so like real demonology and occult stuff, you know, like stuff that you would find somewhere else in a book.
Right, that he researched and wrote into the story. So to put it into the 72 show, it's comical. It's lighter. It's Monster of the Week instead of gloom and doom.
And that's interesting when you think about the 70s, because that was kind of the start of occult stuff, is it not? Or like I guess it was really end of 60s into 70s.
Oh yeah, and that's like the Satanic Panic type shit too. So he was really like he was really going against.
But I wonder how much
everything.
I'm wondering how much the Satanic Panic crossed over or existed in Japan. Like how that works.
Oh, okay. So, and that's an interesting thing when you start to really look at like theology and those sort of things, right? And I'm gonna put it this way: I never want to downgrade somebody's beliefs. I put it in these terms. So if you disagree with that, I respect that. I'm gonna call it the Christian mythology because of where I stand on myths, legends, and everything else. So,
okay.
Inside of the Christian mythology, you have these characters. You have the greatest good. You have the worst evil. Okay, since Christianity is the world's biggest religion and was even at that point, even in a place such as Japan where you do have other sort of institutionalized religions that date back, thousands of years as well. It filters in, it filters in. It becomes this is what the world's doing. So they're familiar with it, but then you also can see in this a lot of sort of those additional cultural touch points throughout. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
You can see Christian mythology with a little bit of Japanese flair, and I kind of like that. I kind of like that a lot.
Kind of like that.
Kind of like that. So the I guess the point becomes like, because what I would want to see and what I would anticipate like later stuff does is really dive into that, like how we conjure these things. I'm assuming, and again with what 40 almost 50 years worth of material now inside of the manga, it's got to be a situation where they've touched on all of that lore and they've gone down all those rabbit holes. I'm sure we've been in hell, we've been, all these places, but like as far as satanic panic goes and like the sort of the rise of the occult in pop culture, you're absolutely right. The second these figureheads started becoming personalities, when they started becoming anything, even oh God, what is it? Crowley before LaVey, and then LaVey, and then the second you can start to see pictures of cult leaders, the second you can start hearing them talk en masse, it really hits pop culture in a totally different way.
That's true, and I think what sets this thing off differently is that you can see this thing called Devilman, and you're just like, oh, it's the devil. But then he's the good guy in the show. There's like the bigger devil, whatever his name is, that's actually in hell trying to kill him. He's the guy saving the world.
So, okay. So there's another thing too. As much as media in America has been maligned for promoting and pushing kids and kids and audiences towards the occult and away from our core Christian values or whatever it might be, to make the devil the hero, I think is an exceptional twist, or to give him a thing, because in real mythology, what was Lucifer? Lucifer, the name literally means like light bringer, right?
Right.
So,
Lucifer Morningstar.
Yes. So the whole notion there is the knowledge that we're simply butt people is the thing. You are naked in this world. You are whatever. With something like Devilman, that makes him so comical, so ridiculous, and again, weirdly charming. Because when he goes, devil wings, and
that's
then just
my favorite.
Devil wing.
That's why I love anime. I love when they have to just shout all the things they're about to do. Devil winga,
Devil
devil
wing.
when he says it's devil whatever it is, it could be like he could be making a hot dog and then raise it up and go,
devil hot dog,
devil hot dog, devil relish. Like it's
When the demons that are sent down from Xenon to fight him, when they come down, it turns into a full on, like it's somewhere in between a kaiju fight, like a Ultraman type fight, and some kind of weird kung fu thing too, because they'll shout things at him and then they'll be like, hey, like that, and do it, and it just kills me.
It's and the thing is like I get it, because when you look at anime, and we've talked about it particularly here before, the idea is a lot of times to eliminate those additional frames, to do sort of more with less, right?
And this
to
show
really
epitomizes that, like, to a T.
Yeah.
In a great way. Like, especially, I think, the pilot, too, more than a lot of the episodes. I noticed the pilot really feels like I'm watching a manga. The way they do split frames, or the way that they would do single frames. Like, it really felt like I was literally watching the manga. Like, like, stylistically. And I love that kind of shit. That's what makes it good. That's why, like, I look at this show, like I kind of said it before, but this is like an ambitious show to make in the 70s as like a weekly television show, you know? Even though now, you know, we see our animations like crazier, but like in the 70s to do something like this, you know, to like a full action-packed anime, that's just like crazy.
It is wild. It's wild. And again, I guess to sort of reiterate your point, James, too, is the simple fact that this is 72 now.
Yeah.
That this is 72. It looks beautiful. Where we watched it, it looks great. Amazing rip. Looks so good. It for me, and again, I'm not steeped in manga, I'm not steeped in anime, and not knowing really what came before our inspiration, the things that I can draw to are like Wicked City, and then even Akira, which we also watched here too. Both of those wonderful choices. There's something with the way the ancillary characters are drawn in this that I think is
if you're not a main character, you just got a big circle face and like big eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And 9 times out of 10, cross-eyed.
Yeah,
they're cross-eyed. They're always looking up, and their eyes are always crossed at a point like right up here. You know what I mean? Dink, right there. Everything's crossed. My favorite, though, out of all of those characters, is the janitor. Very early on at the school, because he's got that ice cream cone top on his head. You know, it comes up to that little point up there at the top. And it reminded me of the old man in Wicked City that they're all protecting.
Yeah, maybe that was a reference all along.
I mean, who knows? It's all paying homage, but it did remind me of him. I also think it's one of those. We talked a little bit at the beginning of this too about the people we're looking for to put in Tromaville. These characters in this could fit that bill.
Yeah.
I say it half in jest, but really you look at that janitor and it's like he's extra small, he's a little pudgy, he's got an odd shaped head, and it's like send me your sheets, man, send me your reel. Like let me know what you're doing today.
Western Tromaville.
So, right.
We need that so bad. We need a Nagai crossover.
Listen, I would pay money for it tonight.
Wow.
I would pay money for it tonight. But it's how to make even the least of these stand out. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And guys, real quick, I have to say it. Our dear friend Fernando has popped into the chat tonight. And whether you know it or not, tonight is his birthday.
Happy birthday.
Aww.
Very happy birthday, brother. Thank you for spending it with us. I can't imagine tonight without you, sir. Happy.
If I could sing, I would sing the ABBA Fernando for you. Happy birthday.
I spent some time in California with Fern and Derek, and every morning when Fernando walked out of the bedroom, that's what Derek would sing, and then shake his little hips at him. Yeah.
And then he'd stop because his hip would start hurting.
His body only moves for a little bit, but no. In this, obviously the first like 3 stand out for me. But it's near the back end, and I can't remember if it's 37, 38, or 39. But one of my favorites that I watched was, did you guys see the one where it was the acid seeds?
I guess I don't remember. Try to bring it back.
So what it is it's like these, the monster is in the trees, right?
Yeah.
And everywhere it sort of branches out, and everywhere these seeds sort of hit any actual life.
So like the giant trees start like there's like a flock of trees, right, that come after them,
coming at each other. It's because when the acid eats through like the bridge, but it touches life, it then turns into another tree, another thing, whatever. I loved the opening of that, it's just some rando in his car driving into nowhere, and then you see that seed coming down, hits the top of his car, leaks through, and he's just bitching in his car about, oh, I gotta go to where all the girls are. I'm tired of being alone.
And then he gets into an accident.
Gets into an accident. Acid seed wrecks his car and turns him into a tree monster in the middle of all this.
That sounds like a
And
fucking Tromaville joke right there.
Dude, either that or do you know what else like instantly hit my head? Captain Planet. I was like, this could
Yeah, a Captain Planet, yeah.
100%.
Imagine that episode of Captain Planet where the trees are evil, and now he's got to fight the trees.
but
To save the world, you must start a forest fire.
Talk about mixed messaging to 90s liberal parents, right? Well, Joey did start a forest fire the other night, but you know what? He learned it on Captain Planet.
It's the one time you'll be okay, kids, when the trees are evil.
And that's immediately where you learn not to listen to people in tights, but pay attention to the bears in the woods. Listen to them first.
Yeah, that's a good saying. Don't pay attention to the people in tights. Listen to the bears in the woods.
Hey, you'll do better in this life. But as far as format goes, and because it is Monster of the Week, which you know what, man. To pack that into 24 minutes, I loved this too because of how formulaic it was. It didn't have to think a lot. Yeah. I just had to see what the monster was and watch what the monster was doing.
That's the best part about this show is you really don't have to think a lot.
No,
that's the best part about like kaiju and Japanese kind of fight.
Yeah.
Series in general, like that. You don't.
That's why I love Power Rangers as much as I did growing up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Just a group of teenagers fighting a bunch of monsters every week.
Bad monster shows up,
it
gets its ass whipped. End of story.
So I guess the thing there is as we kind of watch it, as we kind of look at it, I at least in what I watched in this, didn't really hit any big 2-parters, 3-parters. No real massive like story arc, at least that I could see across these. It's very, very episodic.
It's the same devil being like, all right, this week I'm going to send another monster. This one for sure is going to work.
There's no real growth. There's no real whatever. And honest to goodness, man.
Even his like own relationship doesn't have growth because it's like the same thing where it's like they start off together, then he like pisses her off, and then she almost like hooks up with this other guy, and then the monster comes, kidnaps her, then he saves her, and then they're like back together.
And then they ride away on his motorcycle.
Yeah.
Every stinking time. But I mean, especially for like a thing that in theory should be a kid show, because
this is still pretty horny for a kid show.
I mean, yeah, but it's also, again,
did you see the one episode where Devilman was like slapping this like demon girl's titty? Yes. He has her like tied up and she's like whipping her, and like just there's a full titty out and he's just like whipping it. And then she starts laughing and like enjoying it.
And you know what? For many a child, a fetish was born.
Just imagine though the boundary pushing. But like, what was the guy at that time? He was rebelling against being told what not to do.
Right.
And if you listen to him in interviews, he would say, or he says, they told me I couldn't do it, so that made me want to do it even more.
That's awesome.
I think in the I think when it comes to like really good thinkers and people who are envelope pushers, the best thing to do is to ignore them if you don't want to see what they're doing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
9 times out of 10 they'll give you less than if you're like, oh, this is too much, and they're
Yeah.
like, that was too much for you.
Guess
Let me
what?
show you what we can do. Let me show you what we
My
Yeah,
brain kind of works in those extremes myself, so I
I mean,
understand that completely.
Think of like, I mean, they think of any movie that's come out ever that they're like, oh, this is dangerous. This movie's horrible. You can't see it. And then of course everyone goes and fucking watches it. It's like when like the Joker came out, the most recent, right? Everyone was like, oh, someone's gonna shoot up a movie theater because of this movie, and it made people go to the theater more because they thought it was gonna be dangerous.
So it was at the Joker movie prior to that where that actually happened. It's, and again, not to make light of tragedy, but that's what the fear was, is that it's gonna come back again. Why? Because what is this guy doing in an actual studio, in an actual theater, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
When he blows Bobby De Niro's head off.
Yeah.
It's spoilers for the thing you have seen. Everybody has
Yeah.
seen.
Everybody's
Made
seen
billions of dollars, but that's what I'm saying.
Sorry.
That movie would not. I don't think it would have made billions of dollars if it didn't have this controversy over it at the start.
Of course not. Of
Yeah.
course not. And Todd Phillips, like low key, hate to say it, but I will. Until that moment, not a polarizing figure, not a guy who
Amen,
really.
sir.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Never really stirred a pot. Never really whatever. I guess the closest kiss he ever really had to that was hated Gigi Allen doc, right?
I mean, Hangover gets some hate now because of its bad language. They sell some stuff that don't. But yeah, it's not as he wasn't the polarizing, controversial director.
And literally all that is pulling in names of DC. I'm sorry, I'm gonna bitch, and this is totally off topic.
Go
Pulling
for it.
in names of DC characters to put towards some weird, twisted retelling of the King of Comedy that didn't need to exist.
Mhm.
None of that needed to exist,
Yeah.
and it still doesn't need to exist. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's disgusting. There's
Preach.
my old lady rant for the night.
Preach it. Hell yeah. I agree.
Very nice. So we're not going to what is it? Folie à deux?
Absolutely
Joker
not.
followed
You
the
could-
whatever.
Okay, so my Harley Quinn is Batman the Animated Series. That's my Harley Quinn. My Harley Quinn is not Lady Gaga. My Harley Quinn is not Margot Robbie. Sorry to upset everybody. That's my Harley Quinn, and that's what she should be.
It's
I
true.
will say this. I always liked Harley better in the full jumpsuit leotard situation, the red and the black. I've always liked her better in that. Just saying.
Yeah.
That's her. Like I don't need her in some weird daddy's little misfit whatever cheerleader outfit. That's absurd.
No,
She's
she did wear the
insane, and
jacket.
She's a Harlequin.
Yeah.
I do love the jacket she wears in Suicide Squad that nobody talks about. It just says "Live Fast, Die Clown." It's pretty great. And also, Harley Quinn is one of my favorite shows ever.
Yeah, I'll go out on a limb there with you, buddy, and say that the new cartoon Harley Quinn is pretty exceptional. And I do hope they bring it back. Particularly the first 3 seasons were great. The fourth one left
it wasn't
a
as
little
great.
to be desired. If you guys want to hear that, I think James talked about it on a show at one point.
Yeah, there's a good show. You go through the YouTubes, you'll find it. It's somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, Devilman. But Liz, do you got any favorite episodes in this?
The very last 39th episode is my favorite.
Oh.
And I love Demon God. Like when Xenon pulls him up through the pool and he's like, here's my next guy, the ultimate, whatever he is, captain of the demon team. I don't know what he is.
He
but-
had like the
I mean-
power of like, no, that's later I'm thinking of. Yeah, I'm thinking of someone. I'll think of the other villain. He has like power of like the earth or something.
So
But yeah.
this is the one that looks exactly like
Right. He looks like kind of like Wolverine.
knockoff Devilman.
Yeah, he had
like,
like the weird
that's
Wolverine mask thing on. That was, yeah, that
So-
guy was cool.
In my old age, now I equate that with Agent Dale Cooper versus bad Agent Dale Cooper. the Bob version, the Black Lodge version. So this is the Black Lodge version of Devilman.
You couldn't really put it better, Liz. You really couldn't put it better. The only thing he's lacking from like evil Spock is the goatee. You know what I mean? That'd be the only real thing to
he
set
should've
the
had a
whole thing
goatee.
off further. Yeah.
Yeah, to save money, they should have just copied Devilman and just gave him a goatee.
What they do with Fake Or and He-Man? They copied He-Man, made him blue. You know what I mean? They changed the hair color a little bit, and you're
That's
good.
saving money at its finest.
I mean, it's, I'm going to be pitching a lot of that throughout what we're doing on this movie. I'm going to be. Have we
Just
thought
paint him
about
blue.
making
We'll
him
put
blue?
him back in the movie.
Hey Ben, we want to make this guy bad. Just paint him blue.
Hey, Liz, this question might be better suited for you, but someone commented saying, how does this compare to the 1987 two-part Devilman OVA?
So
And
this
that-
is a lot less serious.
Yeah.
Let's
And
say
that's
that.
someone real quick. Also, big friend of the show, big friend of the show. AD on Curse of the Weredeer. He helped with. He's one of our editors on Curse of the Weredeer, Mr. Benjamin Terry, asking questions. Mazel Terry.
No, Mom.
And happy belated birthday, sir. By the way, but yeah, Liz, take us through a little bit more of that because I haven't seen those.
So it ends. So this entire series ends with Devilman kicking Demon God's ass.
Yeah.
You know, and he's disintegrated, and
And
it
the
all it
demon
is
god
that
is
he
just
rides
like,
into
"Oh,
the
one more time."
sunset again,
Yeah.
and that's it.
I got more
But we
bad
didn't
guys.
need
I'll
any
send
more
you.
than that.
Yeah. So how does it compare? So then the other ones, I guess, get more in depth. Like there's.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more like, I guess, I don't want to say real anime, but it gets even more anime, where it's like the stories get deeper.
Very graphic,
Yeah.
much more graphic, a lot more sexual nature. Just as far out there as they can. Maybe one day we can hit Crybaby.
Yeah, because I was looking. So Crybaby's most recent one looks like from Netflix 2018. The poster looks really sick.
It's pretty kick-ass.
Because the poster is just like, it's Devilman, but it's black and red, and he has like a red tear going down his eye. It looks pretty sick. I'm into it.
And this is the thing. This is what one of my fears with anime and manga is. It's also my fear in going into like a lot of things. Or I guess less of a fear, but more of a reluctancy, right? I'm reluctant to get into a lot of things because of the history, because of the depth, because of how long
Yeah, and
it's been
animes
on.
are deep. Some animes are like 1,000 episodes deep.
So, and even in the mangas, like over here, you know, they'll put out a series. They'll and you'll get like an omnibus, which is like every issue of a particular story arc in comics, right? There's not a nerd listening to this that doesn't know what that is, but in case there is, and sometimes those will sort of cross various titles. Like you can get, what is it, 2 or 3 different versions of Death in the Family, right? Where it's piecemealed together from like 4 different comic book series and arcs or whatever.
Yeah,
Can we do a Jason Todd and animation retrospective one day?
I would love
Oh
to.
my God.
We never talked about Under the Red Hood, which is one of my favorite Batman movies ever, too.
Agreed.
So
Okay.
but the whole point I'm making there is like I could never read those because of how much it is, and one issue of these animes can be hundreds of pages.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
one issue. So I get a little reluctant there. The last time I really bit on anything big like that had all that kind of lore was Doctor Who, and I'm still nowhere near close to like having watched the entirety of.
I mean, you're watching all of Raw. I mean, that's pretty close, too. But
So and that's another conversation I had with another friend this week was I met up with yet another friend of the show, Mr. Billy Graves. I've been a little social butterfly.
We haven't had him on this show yet, but we've both been on his show, and he should come on sometime soon.
No, he did. You don't remember,
I don't
Mr.
remember.
Pickles. Yeah, you weren't here.
No, I wasn't on there. That's right. I was like, yeah, I don't remember it because I wasn't there.
Yeah, he sat down with me and we talked Mr. Pickles while you were out being Mr. Fancy Pants Sound Production last summer. So, but Billy Graves, we started talking Raw, and it was the same thing. So he's sitting here testing my knowledge from when he watched it as a kid, hasn't gone back to rewatch. And he was like, so it's 95. It's 95. That's Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Diesel. Who's the champ? And I was like, well, it's Diesel right now where I'm at in 95. He's like, oh, okay, cool. Let's see.
Yeah, you can always trace it back from whoever's the champ, you know?
And he starts, literally, I'm watching, like, it's like in A Beautiful Mind when all the equations are, like, going by in front of his face or whatever. I see these wheels spinning. And he's like, okay, Diesel's champ. Where are you with the pay-per-views? And I'm like, Mabel just got King of the Ring. Great. So Jack Tunney is about to leave. The interim president, I believe, will be Gorilla Monsoon. And so last night I'm up late. I'm doing a little bit of emailing, doing some work, whatever. And sure as shit, the episode that I start after the one that was finishing, the freshest episode that I'm about to watch, boom, they make the announcement that Gorilla is the interim president. It was like this man pinpointed it. I was shocked. That anybody would like go that deep on that shit.
Hey,
and be
man,
able to
if
just
you watch
tell
a lot of wrestling, it just stays back there forever.
So, but anyway, we talked a lot about that, and weirdly, I can connect Raw to this in this way. So, with story arc in Raw, okay, they literally go from the $1 million corporation to just 4 years later, from Ted DiBiase being the big bad in the WWE.
Yeah,
they bring Vince into the role of the $1 million man, setting up the corporation. So as you watch through those first 3 years of Raw, understand that they're going to do that again 5 years later. Almost note for note, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
If it doesn't work the first time, or it does work the first time, keep doing it, and then
keep doing the same thing.
And if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And that's why every episode of this could be the first episode. Every episode of this could be the last episode.
I thought that's why I got confused earlier, because episode 36, he fights a monster, and the first time I watched it, I thought that was the finale, and I thought the monster he was fighting was the big demon, the big boss in hell or whatever his name is, the big demon guy. Because they look very similar, and then I realized that that's not the guy at all. It's not the finales are not wrong. Because he fights this big flying monster demon that's got the power of the earth, and then it also cuts to the demon in hell talking to him. You know what I mean? So it totally confused me. But yeah, you can watch any of the episodes in order. It literally doesn't matter.
So on top of this story being repeated episode by episode, sounds and visuals, not just the background characters, coming into play and being in the same spot, in the same cell over, or however it was done over and over. If you listen, there's a lot of you can hear Godzilla roar.
I was gonna say,
when there's
did you see
dinosaurs,
the dinosaur episode?
you can there's so much recycled in this that it makes it that much more fun.
I was like, is that T-Rex? Is that Godzilla's noise? And they kept doing it, and I was like, that is Godzilla.
So, and this is the level of research that one day I would love for us to be able to get to, right? And who knows? We might. Listen, we're looking for unpaid interns here at Completely Cartoony. If you want to do some research and send us some notes, you can reach out to. Actually, I'll have you reach out to James and Liz at totally.tunular@gmail.com. Send them your notes. Here's the kicker, though, right? With that, depending on what studios were involved, depending on what sort of parent companies were involved, all of that fun stuff, they might have access to those sound banks. Do you know what I mean? They
Yeah.
might.
It's Towie all the way.
And then have free reign to use it. That's the other thing. You can pull from those assets if they have them, and you're working with them. A lot of times you can.
And I can't imagine even the whatever vast media that existed in the 70s in Japan, that the idea of stock sounds and stock footage. I mean, the pool can't be that big, of like
No,
where to grab shit from.
Dude, you're only, what is it? The first Godzilla was early 50s, right?
Yeah.
Like 52-ish?
I'm going to
Something
say,
like
yeah,
that?
something like that.
Yeah. So you're only 20 years away from the original
Yeah.
Godzilla. I mean, your bench depth is not that deep. Your bench depth is not that deep.
And
that
they're
point-
literally like reusing suits for kaiju to create other kaiju, and reusing sounds at that point, to dub over other kaiju. Like
Yeah.
that's just what they did. They're very efficient that way.
And
You know,
do
and
you
it
know?
works. It works.
Do
Yeah.
you know that works so well, and it helps build your world.
You know
It
what's
helps
funny?
build-
Like, I think about now, Power Rangers in the 90s, like the American version, where it's like, here we are reusing Japanese footage that they themselves are also reusing things. It's just this big recycling pool that goes on for forever.
Right. And so my intent as a maker is to reuse whatever I can as I can,
I mean, the famous Kabuki car flip.
Yeah.
Not even just that, bro. Like you look at we reused footage from the Where Deer trailer.
We did. Which
Yeah.
also, but like that cuts together smoothly somehow. Like, honestly, smoothly.
I'm so shocked it did, but I'm so happy it did.
Yeah.
Why have you not incorporated the Kabuki car flip into these Tunular episodes?
Yet, well, that's because we're still waiting to get officially sanctioned by Troma.
I'm gonna wait till the one of these days where Ben has to like Skype it from his car, and then just over his screen we'll just put the Kabuki car flip.
And then, instead of me hanging up, it'll just cut to that
Yeah.
in my little screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfection.
But even like
That-
Liam's movie, right? They used the bus driving scene, the bus crash, and he got a real bus, and then it just cuts to the bus that goes boom.
Which, dude, again, like you take these little pieces, these little nods, and particularly to Terry's credit, he's in here tonight again. To his credit, the other car flip that we used was from the Toxic Avenger. Terry recut it, took it, he recolored it, added some headlights to it, and now when our evil coroner's car crashes, it's the car crash from
nice.
Toxie 1. Yeah.
In
Another
when I made Meet His Murder, I literally threw in BTS footage because like I didn't have another shot of gore, but somebody filmed it on a cell phone, and I just used it.
it's anything in the moment that can fit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So Portrait of Payback, I needed a third angle of Reeves going through the table, and Joe just happened to be filming shit on his cell phone. So guess what? There's cell phone footage in there too.
What does that tell you about the cameras we carry in our pockets?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, from like, can you imagine being the creators on this, having to literally go to a physical room? Let me pull this. Here's this audio clip. Let me just take this little
Oh, that's
chunk I
true
need.
too. They would have to go to an actual room. Like when I think about shit that we're reusing, it's like, oh, I could just put it on my hard drive and I got it. But, like these guys literally have to go to like a library and like watch
To
all
a
this stuff.
a full-blown library to pull sound, to pull whatever, find the clip they want, either re-record it, copy it, however you do that back in the day. I don't know, maybe I don't even know how you would do that anymore. But they had to go to a physical space, a real place to do it. Blows my mind.
Yeah.
Blows my mind to think that that's the level of care that people had to put into something like this.
Yeah.
And again, just watching the beginning and the last little bit, because again, full disclosure to our audience, I was under the impression we were watching a movie and not a series.
I thought it was a movie too, but luckily
Surprise.
I realized that, the first day.
Well, I waited because I was like, Devilman movie. Okay, done. Click. I'll wait until today so it's fresh on my mind. And then it's all of a sudden I'm sending frantic notes to James and Liz going, this ain't a movie. This ain't a movie. Do I have the right one?
I need a VPN to watch this.
Okay, so listen, I will actively say this. If something is streaming and you hit play on it, don't always trust the screen that comes up immediately, because I was like, well, can't watch it. Don't know what we're doing. And then they're like, Ben, you're an idiot. Click out of that. And I was like, I was trying to do it on my phone. So I'm having to close other windows to get back to.
It's like you never had to watch anime illegally before.
No.
That's all I
That's
used to
why
watch
I was like,
anime
Ben,
on.
have you not ever watched anything illegally streaming before? But that's just that's the trade-off, I guess. We get the terrible ads and the potential viruses so we can watch 39 episodes of
But
Devilman.
it brought me back, man, because that's how I watched anime. Like when I first had the internet, and this is back when I was actually into Naruto, which I don't know, now I really don't care. But when I was younger, I was very into it. But there were more episodes in Japan it just never, there's like a whole other season. So I was like, fuck, I want to watch this. So I'd have to watch on these sites with all the ads, all of the subtitles just to watch. So it brought me back to my
And hope you
childhood.
don't click on the wrong thing.
Yeah. Ignore the giant anime titty ads.
Speaking of, okay, real quick, speaking of giant anime titty ads, the whole time I'm watching this today, I'm bouncing around between my phone, I'm bouncing around between my laptop because I'm trying to kill birds with stones, I'm trying to make sure obligations are met. Put it up on my screen on the computer, and I pop out the little picture-in-picture so I can keep working, keep watching, keep working, keep watching. On the main page of that, in the upper right-hand corner, was literally some anime girl with, I mean, each one had to be the size of like a potato sack. You know what I mean? They're just huge.
Hot
Huge.
anime girls in your area.
But it's this cartoon, and all she's doing, she's laying down on her back, and her boobs are just there. And you see nothing like below the waist, but she just keeps pushing back against the frame. And then potato bags are just like slapping up against her head the whole time. I miss half of the cartoon, and I end up like just being like, I can't work and watch this. I have to just keep my head down on my phone and send these texts. Because I keep looking at the wrong screen.
The titties
This
keep
isn't-
bouncing.
This isn't the part I need to see. And then in hindsight, I should have done the smart thing and just move my PIP window to cover that. So then it would be,
You want to look at them.
bro, I'm sorry. I'm a degenerate. Yeah. I did think it was very funny though. I thought that was very, very funny. No, and I watched a cartoon and not that, because I haven't said this entire time. Is that the only episode? Best cartoon I've ever seen. Because it would have been the best cartoon I'd ever seen if that's all it was for every episod. Just biggity, biggity, biggity.
Biggity big.
Would have been
Wow,
perfect.
anime's pretty good. Should watch some more anime more often.
What have I been missing out on all these years? What the hell are we doing?
You
Nobody
just suddenly
ever told
turn
me
into
it was
Big
like
Dan.
No, all of a sudden the voice gets deeper, and I've now grown into a full man.
All right. Well,
I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what to say. I thoroughly enjoyed this show. But anyway, we've been here for a minute. We've talked about it. We're gonna get to what we think about. But before we get to sort of wrapping this baby up, we do have a couple of emails, and I do not have your email up, James. If you don't mind letting us know what Mr. Joshua Dolan said, if you can bring that up, I'm gonna go ahead and take a quick peek.
yeah, I'm gonna look for it. I'm looking for it. I mean, I don't see an email actually, so maybe Joshua lied to me.
He's a fibber. So here it is from completely.cartoony@yahoo.com. This comes from my wonderful co-host, Mr. Leandro. Hey, Cartoonies, it's Leo here. So sorry I couldn't make it to Ben's show that I co-host, but I'm in the great city of Omaha now, with barely some internet, and also Jesus wouldn't let me watch this show. That's what Omaha's like, y'all. I hope you guys are all having fun, and I hope the next episode you guys would do is the OG Dragon Ball in memory of Akira Toriyama.
Hell yeah.
And I would come back to help you with that. Also, I want to give a late congratulations to the lesser-known show from Fantasy Shed, the Totally Tunular. I guess that's the name, for a 3-year anniversary. It's also a pretty good show. I just wish they did some anime there as well. He says, jokes aside, congrats to James, Ben, and Liz.
Aw.
You're doing a great job, and to many, many more years of watching cartoons. Leo.
We love you, Leo. Miss you.
And he sent the champagne glasses clicking emoji for us. Yeah.
I can't wait to meet him.
Oh, let me tell you something. You want to talk about a man with the smoothest voice that you've ever heard in your life?
Oh wait, yeah, wait. I found an email. I forwarded it to you.
Oh, okay. Where'd you forward it to? My phone?
Your normal email. I don't want to say it out loud.
None of the stuff that I actually have up. Yeah, it's called. What is my email again? It's
shithead@gmail.com.
Yeah, dopey dum dum. Great. So here he goes. Just wanted to say thank you for having me on the show. You guys absolutely rock. Happy birthday, Liz. Yes, happy birthday. Sorry you couldn't be on the episode. They called in the B team while you were out partying. Yeah, thanks, Josh. And just so you know, going forward, you'll be known as the Brock Lesnar of podcasting from now on. Got it. Okay.
It's because he ended your streak.
You. Huh?
Because he ended your streak.
Oh, well, yeah, but I mean, Brock Lesnar also just took a shit on somebody's head with Vince
That's
McMahon.
why I was like, wait a minute. Brock Lesnar just did some really bad stuff.
Yeah. He says just because you
But
ended...
he did, and I did end your streak, so.
Yeah. On second listen, he does say he did want to point out that Stevie Lou did not actually prepare these questions adequately. He openly states that he got them from some internet troll website, so he's calling Toon shenanigans. I know for a fact my friend and confidant in the hentai and tunophilia community, Mr. Ben Johnson, has a vast knowledge of
his detectiveness didn't need to go that far, because I mean Stevie Lou also said that on air.
That's what he says. He says he openly states he did no detective work.
Yeah.
Just reiterating.
Remember, he was attacked by a Ninja Turtle.
He says that I was robbed. I am outraged and appalled that the board of directors let this slide. I demand a recount. In fact, I'm going to start a petition right now and send it to all 25 listeners to demand a rematch. You guys are awesome. Keep up the good work, or at least whatever you're doing, if you want to call it work. And thank you for entertaining me every Saturday morning where my cartoons used to be. Joshua Dolan. And then he leaves his phone number. So do we read it out? He put it in.
You know, that's your discretion. That's
Yeah. Guys, if you want to send dick pics to Joshua Dolan, send me a note separately from here. I'll give you his home phone number. You're all good to go.
I can just see him sitting there and just be like, "Oh, these guys don't know real work. I really work. I work every day."
And then all of a sudden he opens his phone and there's like literally just a dozen pictures of wieners on his phone.
All different sizes and shapes.
What happened to this? What's going on? Oh. I can hear him now. You kids don't know what this is. This is terrible. But anyway, Josh, Leo, guys, thanks for taking some time and sending us something. And again, if you want to send a note to, you can go ahead and send that out to totally.tunular@gmail.com. All right.
Hell yeah.
As we start to wrap this up, my friends, we're going to go around the board here. Liz, your recommendation, you kick us off. Like, where does it stand for you?
So I'm just going to let James play that sound bite because I have a hard time saying it out loud. So
No, I'm getting it. My
above success.
above success. Hold on, my Bluetooth is off, but I'm still gonna play it. You get it? It's getting there. I'm getting there. It's coming.
What? See, this is why we,
Really
when you
enjoy
guest
coming.
on a show. One more time, James.
I really enjoy coming.
There we go.
Why does this stand out for you?
So this is just an all-around wonderful anime. This is my favorite anime series of all time, and
I got it.
It's just great from start to finish. You don't get bored. There's no lag.
Yeah, no
It's just-
filler either, which is a big thing with anime.
Full on action. This is what's like you get what you get. You get what you want, and that's your monster of the week. He's going to fight the monster. He's going to kick its ass, and then we're on to the next.
Absolutely. James, how do you
I
feel
really
about
enjoy
this?
coming.
I finally got it to work.
I really enjoy coming.
There we go. For me, I'm going to give it the good old
Success.
yeah, because the show's a lot of fun. Like you said, like it's just you can watch any episode, any point, anytime. It literally doesn't matter. Maybe the pilot that explains how he became Devilman, but really, and it just keeps going. And part of me, like, yeah, it is repetitive. Like I would, if this was like a show now, like I would probably like get tired of it if it was like, if there was like a 10 episode season, I think I'd watch it. If I was had to watch a full 39, then the same kind of thing. But at the same time, man, I kind of miss this also a little bit in cartoons. Like, we have a lot of good shows that exist these days, like Invincible and He-Man and stuff. But yeah, their stories are so deep that's, sometimes I just want a little, there's a big monster and the guy's got to fight a big monster. I need that in my life a bit. But I do love the show. And like I said, it's super ambitious for a 70s show to be this awesome.
Yeah, I would actually follow that up also and say I do think the same here. It's very much a success. Very much so. Success. So, and for me, it's all I could do is literally echo what you're saying there. I love the fact that you can tune in, tune out, and then still understand where you are. I like.
Even with subtitles, like even if I missed a bit of the subtitles, it was not hard to follow.
I legit first watched this whole thing in Japanese.
No subtitles?
No subtitles, and I knew what was going on.
And that's good visual storytelling.
Yeah.
All right. That is really, really exceptional visual storytelling. And for me, it's one of those things where it's also like a lot of old TV in general. You start off, you have the problem, you face the problem, you end, and wherever you end is your reset for the next week. I would almost equate him driving off with Mickey on his back and on the motorcycle at the end of damn near every episode. I would almost equate that to, oh my God, they've killed Kenny, and now Kenny
You
is
bastard.
back. Yep.
I was
it's the
kind of
same
hoping